One day, Adam was feeling very lonely. God said, Adam, I'm going to make you a companion. It's going to be called a woman. This person will cook for you, wash your clothes. She will bear you children, never ask you to get up in the middle of the night. She will not nag you. She will agree with every decision you make. And if you ever have a disagreement, she'll be the first to admit she was wrong. Adam said, wow, God, what will a woman like this cost? God said, an arm and a leg. Adam said, what can I get for a rib? And the rest is history. Hold up, to talk to you today about making deposits everywhere you go. The way to make a deposit is to make people feel better about themselves. When you give a compliment, you look nice today, or great job on that presentation at the office. Those are not just kind words. You made a deposit. When you express thanks, I appreciate you, thanks for being in my life, that's a deposit. Even simple things. You walk over to the parking attendant, shake their hand, good morning, how are you today? The fact that you took time to show respect, you went out of your way to make them feel special, you made a deposit. And all through the day, we should look for these opportunities. Who can I bless? Who can I encourage? How can I make somebody feel better about themselves? My friend Johnny and I, we worked in the television department here at Lakewood when we were in our early 20s. A couple of times a week, we'd go down to the cafeteria to have lunch. And Johnny's always been very friendly, very likable. In the cafeteria line, he would see the ladies' name tags serving us. And Johnny would always call them by name. Susie, I'd like some green beans, please. Thank you so much. Maria, I'll take some macaroni and cheese. You have a great day. And Beverly, how about a piece of fish? And I really appreciate it. He would bring a smile to their face. It's funny, one time this Nigerian lady was serving us. Her name had more letters than the alphabet. Johnny looked at that name, I'll never forget it. He squinted. After a long pause, he said, honey, I'll take a roll. We would get down to where you check out, the cash register. I'd look back and all those ladies serving would be full of joy, laughing, talking. He made their day. It got to the point when they saw Johnny in the line, we could be 50 people back, they'd start waving, here he comes again. We always just thought that Johnny needed prayer, but now I realize he was making a deposit. He was brightening people's day. And the scripture talks about how we should leave places better off than they were before. When you leave the office each day, you leave the gym, you leave your house, are people better off than they were before? Did you take time to encourage anyone? Did you lift their spirits? Were you pleasant to be around? Or were you too busy, too stressed out, discouraged, grumpy? Sad to say, but when some people leave, you're glad to see them go. They always are complaining, have a sad story, negative, bringing everybody down. Don't let that be you. When you leave, people should miss you. They should miss the joy, the peace, the encouraging words, the compliments, the kind spirit. Don't drag places down. Leave them better off. Take time to make a deposit everywhere you go. At the grocery store, you may not be as outgoing as Johnny, but you can go to the cashier and say, thank you so much. Have a blessed day. That didn't take a lot of extra effort, but you just made a deposit. You don't know what that person is going through. They may seem fine on the outside, but you don't know what's going on at home, the struggles they're facing, the disappointments they've been through, the challenges that are in front of them. I was in line at a grocery store waiting to check out years ago, and the young lady at the register seemed very distracted. She kept making mistakes, and the register got jammed, and an item didn't have a price on it. Everything that could go wrong did. And people in the line were very frustrated, starting to complain. Some of them, when they got up to her, were very rude and short with her. I thought, this young lady has enough going wrong. I'm not going to be a part of the problem. I'm going to be a part of the solution. When I walked up, I just smiled and said, I know it's kind of stressful. People are being rude, but I'm going to be praying for you. I know everything is going to get better. Her eyes got real big. She said, as sincere as can be, would you pray for me? My little baby is in the hospital and I'm so worried about him. We took 30 seconds right then and there and prayed. Made the line even longer. People even madder. The lady behind me in line, she overheard it and said to that young girl, my best friend is the head nurse at that hospital. I'm going to have her go check on your baby. The whole atmosphere changed. When we left, she was a different person. See, God will use your smile, your compliment, your prayer to breathe new life into people's spirit, to let them know that somebody cares. To you, it may be no big deal, but to that other person, it's what keeps them moving forward. There's a lady that attends Lakewood. She's a widow and she lives alone, doesn't have any family here in town. She said her favorite thing about coming to Lakewood is that's the one time during the week that I know I'm going to get a hug. The only time she feels the warmth of another person is at our services. Most of us, we get hugs all the time. But you never know, that person you reach out to, maybe that's the only hug they're going to get this week. Maybe your smile, your compliment, your encouragement is going to be the only encouragement that they receive. Be aware of who God puts in your path. Nobody is there by accident. Oh, you say, Joel, they're fine. They're doing better than I am. They're happy. They got a smile. They're outgoing. I've learned many people smile on the outside to hide the pain and loneliness on the inside. You are a container filled with God. There is healing in your voice, healing in your smile, healing in your hugs. Take time to show a part of God everywhere you go. After all, God has no hands to comfort on this earth except our hands. He has no arms to love except our arms. He has no voice to encourage except our voice. A lady told how her mother had died, and the mother was in her 80s, lived a long, blessed life, but the daughter was very devastated. She and her mother were very close, and now this daughter was just lonely. She missed her mother. One day she decided to attend Lakewood. She'd never been here before. We have greeters at the door that welcome people, and when she walked in, this elderly lady greeted her. She gave her a hug, and as she was pulling away, this greeter just gently patted her cheeks and said very lovingly, "We're so glad to have you here today." This lady began to weep. When she gained her composure, she said to the greeter, "When my mother hugged me, she always patted my cheeks just like you did." Now I know that was God saying, "I'm taking care of your mother and I'm going to take care of you as well." You never know what patting somebody's cheeks is going to mean. Just doing your thing. You never know what kind of impact that's going to have. Think about this. There are 270 doors in this facility. What are the chances that that visitor would walk in the one door where the greeter would be there to pat her cheeks? You may come to Lakewood, but I can't promise you you're all going to get your cheeks patted. But God will put you at the right place at the right time. God knows how to use what you have, your unique gifts, your unique talents. You may not call everybody's name in the line like Johnny. You may not pat people's cheeks after you hug them, but God can use your smile, your compliment, your kind words to help put people back on their feet. I met a young lady in another state. She had attended Lakewood for several years, and she went through a very rough time. Her marriage was falling apart, and she was so discouraged, didn't think that she could go on. At one of her lowest moments, she was leaving a service here at Lakewood on a Sunday morning, walking down a crowded corridor with hundreds of other people going out of the building. Well, Victoria came walking in the opposite direction, going up to the visitors' reception. Out of the hundreds and hundreds of people in that crowded corridor, Victoria reached out and gently touched her arm, looked her in the eyes and said, "You are so beautiful." Just a 5-second interaction, and they both went their separate ways. Victoria never thought any more about it. Several years later, this young lady told me at a book signing, "Victoria will never know what she did for me that day. When I felt the most unattractive, the most unlovely, Her words breathed new life into my spirit. In the months to come, she would play that phrase over and over, "You are so beautiful." 4 words spoken at the right time. That's what helped her to keep moving forward. The Scripture says in Hebrews to encourage one another daily. Not monthly, not once a week, not when you feel like it. No, every day, look for opportunities to make a deposit. Make it your business to make somebody else feel better about themselves. One time, I was in my front yard doing some yard work, and it was very hot outside in the middle of the summer, and I decided to go in and get some water. When I did, I heard the garbage truck coming down the street. I thought, I'll get a few extra bottles and give it to the trash collectors. When I handed them that water, you would have thought I had given them $1,000 each. And yes, it's hot here in Houston, but it wasn't so much the water. It was the fact that somebody took time to make them feel appreciated. Somebody expressed their gratitude. I read where half of all employees don't feel appreciated by their company. 80% have never been told thank you for doing their job. Imagine what kind of deposit we can make when you thank the young lady at the grocery store, when you thank the person that takes your order on the phone, when you thank the ushers that seat you each week, or driving out of the parking lot, you thank the police officers and not whisper something else under your breath. Well, Joel, I'm paying these employees. I shouldn't have to thank them. Or I pay taxes. I don't have to thank these police officers. They work for the city. No, do you know how much better of a job people will do when you thank them? Do you know how much more your employees will produce when they know they're appreciated? A man went out to get his paper in the morning, and when he opened the front door, the little dog from across the street was bringing the paper to him. He was pleasantly surprised. He thought, this is great. And he went in and got the dog a treat and gave it to him. The little dog went off as happy as can be. The next morning, he went out to get his paper. The little dog was there with 8 newspapers beside him. That dog had gone and got all the neighbors' newspapers. He thought, if I get 1 treat for one, I'm going to get 8 today. We laugh, but human nature is the same way. We'll do a lot more when we know we're appreciated. A few months after I gave those trash collectors that water, one day I had forgotten to take my garbage out. They come very early in the morning, and I'd gotten busy, and I thought, oh no, because it's hot and this garbage is going to stink, and not much I could do about it. Later that day, after the garbage men got through running their route through the neighborhood, they came back down my street, stopped at my house, rang my doorbell, and asked if my trash was ready to be collected. All I gave them was 3 bottles of water. Probably $1.50 investment, but that simple act of kindness deposited something much greater on the inside. It said to them, I value you, I respect you, I appreciate you serving my family. Don't miss